Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. Liko did not catch Toedscool and she was never going to. But can you blame me for thinking that she would, given all the evidence that suggested that this could happen? Though, in hindsight, since the title of the episode bears Floragato's name and it was clear that there would be like 100 Toedscool in this episode, I really should have known better. Still, I chose to believe, which left me disappointed. Despite this, I still liked the episode though. While I don't think we needed another Liko and Floragato bonding episode since we've had plenty of these, Farewell Sprigatito being the most standout one, it was still nice to see that in spite of everything they have been through together, Liko and Floragato are still not the perfect partners. They still have a long way to go, and evolution did not eliminate Floragato's prickly personality. Liko's overwhelming kindness, which makes her want to cater to everyone, often blinding her to certain feelings and emotions, and Floragato's inability to express herself honestly, were beautifully showcased in this episode, leading to a conflict where neither side was really in the wrong, but that allowed for an even tighter connection to be formed, which culminated in a very heartfelt resolution. Throw in several cute funny moments and the anime debut of a hilarious Pokémon and you get an episode that was enjoyable even though nothing truly significant or memorable took place in it. So let's dive deeper into it to see just what allowed it to shine. But before we do, what exactly happened in this episode? Let's recap. In this episode, Liko and friends, eager to write their reports, arrive at an area filled with wild Pokémon they can observe. They soon set up camp nearby, something that goes well for Dot and Roy, but hilariously not so much for Liko, which does not bother her. Floragato soon spots a pineco that they all inadvertently disturb, making it explode, an absolute classic. To wash off the dirt from the explosion, they all head to a nearby river. Roy and his Pokémon soon spot a Kilowattrel, which they decide to chase, with Roy declaring his intention to write his report on it. Dot chooses to head back to camp to look into what she wants to write about. Liko meanwhile stays behind to bathe her Pokémon. She focuses on Athena first, leaving Floragato for later. However, after Athena is nice and clean, she gets dirty again. And the Terapagos, who Liko decided to let out so that it can roam freely, wanders off. So Liko ends up getting sidetracked by them, which makes her unintentionally neglect Floragato, who takes offense to this. While Liko tries to mend things, she ends up being hurt by Floragato's fur, which is currently sharp like thorns. While it was an accident, hurting Liko makes Floragato run away in distress. Liko follows her all the way to camp, where Dot shares information with her about an interesting event that happens in this area. A flower pillar that supposedly brings happiness to anyone that sees it. Hoping that this will improve Floragato's mood, Liko decides to go see the flower pillar. However, when she's about to tell Floragato about this, like before, Terapagos wanders off, forcing Liko to chase after it, which makes her accidentally neglect Floragato, who this time reluctantly follows her. While Terapagos gets to appreciate both the environment and the Pokémon, it soon gets the Team Rocket treatment just as Liko and her Pokémon arrive. Seeing the tracks left by Terapagos, Liko runs off to find it, leaving her Pokémon behind much to their shock. Soon an explosion is heard, and they all head towards it hoping to find Terapagos. Floragato and Athena do find it. Hilariously, it landed on a pine cone which exploded, and Athena adorably tries to flip it over. Liko meanwhile falls into a vine-covered ravine. Soon, about 100 Toedscool appear and they get to work removing the vines. One of them spots Liko, which makes the entire herd spot her, which makes her scream. This attracts her Pokémon. They come to the rescue with Floragato hissing and getting ready to fight. However, Liko stops her, saying that the Toedscool did not harm her nor had any intention to do so. Since she grabbed Floragato, Liko is once again hurt by the sharp fur, which, like before, makes Floragato want to run away. This time though, Liko stops her by embracing her and saying that she does not mind getting hurt by Floragato. She will stay by her side no matter what. This makes Floragato relax, and as a result, her fur returns to normal, indicating that she was literally on edge. Since the Toedscool still want to remove the vines, Liko and her Pokémon decide to help. Together, they manage to get the job done. Soon a strong gust of wind passes through the ravine, which creates a massive twister. The Toedscool all jump into it and the strong winds peel off flower petals from them, leading to a gorgeous floral whirlwind. This is the flower pillar, something Liko realizes. She turns to Floragato and says that she hopes that everyone here watching it will indeed be able to find happiness. Back at camp, Liko shares what she saw with Roy and Dot. Liko declares that she will write her report on the flower pillar, though she soon realizes, thanks to Dot, that she unfortunately forgot to record or take pictures of the event, which is not good for the report. The episode ends with Liko saying that she will just draw what she saw, and Roy saying that he wants to see said drawing. So yeah, again, it's disappointing that Liko did not catch Toedscool. Not just because my prediction would have been right, but also because it would have been nice to see her get a new Pokémon. Though again, in hindsight, I was probably expecting too much. But can you really blame me? At this point, I have been conditioned to think that if a Pokémon shows up in promotional material and or an opening, they have a high chance of being caught by a main character. Still, I held on to hope until the very last minute, especially when I saw this moment, which just screams, this is Liko's team up to this point. All this aside, at least Toedscool got to debut in the anime. I always found it hilarious in the games when Toedscool run away with their skinny little legs super fast upon spotting the player. This same goofy, silly energy was translated well into the anime. Their cowardice was well represented too, both when they spotted Liko and when Floragato was ready to fight them. They were so terrified even though there is an army of them. I found it especially hilarious when, during Professor Freed's seminar, they showed a Toedscool running into its cousin Tentacool, and they both proceeded to freak out. While we really did not need another Liko Floragato episode, I still enjoyed getting to see that evolution has not changed Floragato's personality much, nor has it changed the way Liko treats her. Though I do think Floragato is more mature and patient now. Sprigatito would have definitely gotten angrier. In fact, we saw this in Farewell Sprigatito. She straight up just left because Liko did not give her attention. While in this episode she stayed by Liko. Annoyed, yes, but she was still there. It wasn't until she hurt Liko accidentally that she decided to run. And it wasn't because she was angry at Liko, but rather she was angry at herself for hurting her partner again. something she has done before plenty of times, both intentionally and accidentally. And it almost always makes her feel bad, because she genuinely cares about Liko that much. So while she has definitely grown, several key facets of her personality are still very much alive. Liko too seems to be more aware of how Floragato feels, and she is more adept at dealing with any discord. In Farewell's Sprigatito, she was almost clueless as to why her partner was in such a bad mood, and she struggled to find a way to mend things. This time though, she knew what was up. She actively tried to appease and defuse the situation before it got out of hand. And once it did, she was a lot more active in trying to resolve the problem. And she was able to do so without much difficulty. Plus, despite everything that happened, they both stuck by each other until the end. Their surprising evolution as characters was beautifully showcased in this episode, which is ultimately why it was still an enjoyable episode. Finally, this episode was, as episodes like this tend to be, filled with funny and adorable Pokémon moments. From Fuecoco and Tinkatink playing by the river, to Tinkatink playing with Quaxley and trying to turn a frying pan into a hammer, to everything involving Athena and the Terapagos, to Quaxley putting Dot on hold because he just has to style his hair perfectly. I was smiling the entire time. So yeah, overall this episode was alright. While it contributed nothing to the story and it was lacking when it came to thrills and excitement, its exploration of Liko and Floragato's bond post-evolution, the way they have grown and changed, while still preserving key aspects of their personality, several fun, adorable moments, and the anime debut of a hilarious, goofy Pokemon that you cannot help but love, all made this an entertaining episode that was certainly a joy to watch. The lack of a capture is disappointing, but mostly because I had the wrong expectation. The fact that this was not like, say, Ash and Beartic, who clearly bonded enough to warrant becoming Pokemon and partner, ultimately helps this episode, since otherwise it would have been frustrating to say the least. But that's the review and the video. Please let me know what you think of this episode in the comments below, and click on the links on screen now to see my reviews of the previous 3 episodes. I will see you over there. Thank you so very much for watching.